should be coming on live here. Let's check Twitch. Yes, looks good. I like it. Sound looks really good. Mac Nonsense, welcome. You always the first. That's always great to see. Good to see you. All right. Anybody who wants to join on live, I'm gonna give you the link right now. Let's see. I'm gonna stay. Let's go get the link here. Okay. All right. So let's go to my chat box here. To join in live, you're going to follow this link, or I should say to share live, you will follow this link to join us. So anybody who wants to share live, there you are. There's the link. Good morning. Welcome. Share where you're from. Share what the weather is like in your area. Yeah, more people are jumping in now. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We are back to another Blender 3D and LightWave roundtable discussion. Or discussions, I should say. Mac Nelson says, hey, Steve, how's hanging there? We're hanging in there. Mr. David Glenn. Okay, did you see the link to join on live? So it should be right there in Twitch. I will give it to you again for your convenience in case you didn't see it coming on. There you are. And all right, we'll give a few more minutes for people to kind of come in. Share with us where you are from. Always like to know. And how is the weather in your area? We're gonna do I've got a fun tutorial today. We're gonna do like sticks of dynamite, and we're gonna light the fuse, and the fuse is going to emit sparks, and then it's slowly going to disappear as the sparks travel down the fuse. Good morning, good morning, good morning. More people jumping in. Share where you are from, what the weather's like in your area. You are welcome to the Blender 3D broadcast, as well as we also include LightWave. Our discussions hours. David Glenn just jumped on. He's still struggling to get his camera on. And I'm going to add you, David, to the stream. You are now live to the stream.
Hello.
And let's see. I don't hear your voice yet.
Hello.
There it is. Now I can hear your voice.
Okay.
Perfect. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm here.
You're here? I'm going to try to use a different speaker system. Let me go over to, let's see, what do I have here? It's not here.
Oops.
I will have to reboot to actually get to the speakers. For some reason, my Bluetooth's been acting up a little bit. It's like the signal is getting lost between the computer and the speakers. And they're not far from one another. They're only 5 feet away from each other. But they're coming through my body. I'm right in between them. Speakers are directly behind me, so.
Oh.
So I'm not quite sure what that is all about.
Yeah. I didn't have much to show. I tried to come up with a CAD solution for Blender, and I came up short. So
we're looking forward to that.
What I have instead is what I've done is I'm going to do a what if scenario. Like, what if I wanted to take something from my case in point,
right?
like right. I don't know if you can see my screen, but
well, I tell you what. Do you wanna share? I'll let you share what you're sharing first. And
okay. My screen is shared.
I'm gonna I just added your screen.
Okay.
All right. So chat with us. So we got David Glenn's here. Thank you, David. David's our vice president for the Blender user group, and he almost always has something to share. So take it away, David.
Well, one of the things that I faced up to is, I have this. Let me bring it up here. I have this table. This is a table that I 3D printed. And as you can see, there are various 3D parts over here. This table is designed in a way that you can take strips of lumber and cut it by certain lengths, square, in a box cutter, using a miter saw, and be able to put together what you see here, which is, this happens to be the table I use to, I have a table in my bedroom, a TV in my bedroom, and I don't have a table for it. And for me, space is very limited. Like, I think that the footprint here is something like 1.2 feet. And so, like everything else that I have, I kind of like to keep examples handy. So when I go out and advertise my wares, in this case, my 3D prints, I have something that is tangible that I can show to them. And this is one of those cases. It isn't like one of my models or one of my characters. I can't hold this in one hand. I can't hold a TV table with one hand. I can't put it in a I can't put it in a bag, except for the parts. Maybe the parts, but that's about it. And I want to build a model facsimile. So what I did, and I'll show you what I've done so far, is in this case, I'm using Bamboo Studio I brought up the 3D parts. And here's where I have it right here. I have it, in this case, I have it sectioned out into 4 build plates. These 2 plates here, these 2 are the top halves. This is the one the top connects to the top, and the lumber goes into these holes. And the bottom part is here. Is like here and here. These are supports. Or these are the build plates for the center half. Some people could call it the bottom half if you wanted to, but one of the challenges, but it's up to you. One of the challenges that I had to face in building this is I wanted to add some support. I wanted to add support. To do that, I had to angle the lumber to go forward by 7 degrees. And so I got that built into here. And yet I got this end here, which will accept a 90-degree cut chunk of lumber right here. The lumber is classically called a 2x2, but the lumber I use is premium pine, and it comes from New Zealand, and it comes cut in the actual numbers. In fact, they call it a 1.75 by 1.75, I believe is what it is. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this into blend. What I did is I brought this into Blender, and to do that, I simply went over to the file here, and there is a thing here. I can go in here and do an export, and I just went ahead and say export all objects. Went up, and in my case, I went over here to the node folder, but I'll just go ahead and do it here just for the sake of having something. And you hit that, and it saves all the files right here. But I also have it up here. But just imagine in the moment that I actually save these up here. I'm going to bring these into Blender. Now, before I went on the air today, I tested this out. And I just basically what I did is I just did a quick grab and drop into place, and I got this, which imports the model. The thing is that you might want to do in this case, I did here. In fact, I'm going to start, if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and just kill this off. Start anew. Don't save. Kill my cube. It's out real far because this is going to come original size, and this is going to challenge the thrust among my view window. And I'm just going to grab the first object, and I'm going to bring it here. And I'm going to try to do something that I didn't do in the last thing. I'm going to bring this scale down, because otherwise and just see what we get. Zoom down. It's fairly good size. That I think will do. And one of the first things is that I probably need to do right off the bat is I'm going to go over here and select my object. And I'm going to go over here. I'm going to set the origin. I'm going to go ahead and set it to geometry. So now my origin's around this product. So now when I move this thing around, and when I do, I got to remember to do my Control A at some point. Otherwise, things will get goofy. And I'll just bring that over here. And then I'll bring my next object, which is right here. I'll drag it in. And you can see the scale's already preset to pretty much what this is going to be. So I can just import it. Import that object. I'm going to go ahead and set the origin to geometry so I can control it, which will be, I think I'll, for the time being, I'll put that there. Same thing with this object. The scale is already set the way I want it. Drop it. Click on this, set the origin to geometry. And I'll kind of put it over here. And at this time, I won't worry about what they where they go. I'm just laying this out because I'm going to have to flip some of these. Grab this object, bring it over. Bang. Set the origin to geometry. Put that over here. And finally, the two top halves for the top. Grab that, bring it over here. Already scale is already set where I want it. Boom. Set the origin. Put that roughly there. Grab the last half, the last of what we need here. Bring it over. Scale's already set. Import. Set origin. Geometry. And I'll just bring it over here. I'm just going to go here, grab this and bring this down. Grab this and bring this up. And you can see I'm already going through and selecting, kind of arranging these in their place so I know where they'll land. Actually build the table. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this common cubes and just set it to the proper position in meters. And I've got to admit, I'm going to do a lot of guesswork. So this is going to be quite accurate because I'm going from inches to meters. And my conversion table for stuff like that isn't exactly instinctive. It's got to be pretty much by guess. I think in the end it will work out. It'll set up a model, and hopefully what I'll have in the end is I'll have a 3D model of the object that I can photograph, that I can render, and it'll look nice, and I can show it to a client. It'll be kind of like the ideal setup. On screen, I could take it apart and put it together. And with the extra lumber that I'm going to generate in a few minutes, you could take this and 3D print it, and you can assemble that in miniature. And the reason why you want to do that is if you're going to do furniture for a client, say I'm making a furniture for a client, and I'm trying to push this ideal off onto the client. I'm giving them, I could give them basically an unbuilt model of this, hand it to them. He could put the stuff together, assemble it, and he could kind of get the concept of what I'm trying to achieve using these pieces that I 3D printed. That's would be one scenario. So let's look over what we got here. Okay, this was, as you can see, this is laid out very similar to how it was laid out in Bamboo Studio. This was designed, to be. This is how everything's laid out to be 3D printed. I could get into the details, but I won't. That isn't part of the exercise today. But now I have this in Blender. And other than the scaling is different, they're pretty much correct in terms of size. And but there is a few things that I am going to have to change. One of them is these pieces here. I got to flip them over. And first thing I'm going to do, just for the sake, I'm going to do control, rotation, and scale right there, just for the sake of stabilizing, making sure everything is correct. And there, everything's set for rotation and scale. I just wanted to make sure about that first. Okay, let's go and start rotating some parts. Very easy to do. Click on a part, go in the corner here, and I'm going to start turning, and the rotate window will start to pop up. And I'm going to rotate this by 180. Done. Next part, kind of behind it. Start this off. And I'm going to rotate this by 180. And that's correct. Same thing here. This is supposed to be, this was printed in reverse. And so I'm going to grab this. 180. Oops. 60. No, I'm fine. And while I'm at it, since this is also printed upside down and the holes, I got the holes in also upside down. I might as well rotate this as well. Eight, 0. Back. Zero. And now we are all correct. I'm going to grab them all. Try to grab them all. Yeah. Control A. Get them all set. So when you look at the rotation and the scale, everything's correct. And to get out of that, so we have all our parts pretty much set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over into Z mode again. I'm going to take this part here into the move tool, and I'm going to put this over here for the time being. And bring this down. And to do the same thing here. I'm going to do something different though. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to bring this. I'm going to go ahead and align this up with that and then just drag it. While I'm at it, I'm going to bring this over here. Bring that right there. It looks pretty centered. And just drag it over here. So now I have everything here laid out in the orientation that later I'm going to go and build things. And the next thing that I'm going to end up building the finished table in. And while I'm at it, one thing else I neglected to do, I'm going to hit the X-ray mode. And the reason why I did that is very apparent. It is very apparent when you look upon this. Right now, and I click on this piece, you can see where all the holes are at and the angles and so on and so forth. That's going to be very important when we calculate the distance that we're going to cut the wood for. And for the sake of the moment, I'm going to select this and I'm going to bring this up, and I'm just bringing this up to the point where I assume is going to be the top of the table. And I don't particularly, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to kind of line it along this grid over here. Now I could probably snap the grid and make this correct, but this is just a model. If anything is built out of this, it's going to be built by the individual pieces, and the hope is that everything will roughly fit together. And there's a few tricks in Blender that I can make sure when I cut the lumber that everything is going to look correct. And for the sake of this demonstration, I'm just roughing it in at the moment. So I'm going to go, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. Go over here and I want to try to make this, take one of these, and I want to line up. This is the back. You can get away with this. Line this up. Go over here. I'm going to select this. Select that. Yeah. bit off. I'm going to do something here. I think it's either here. Where is it? Statistics. I'm looking for. There we go. Ooh, that's scary. Maybe I don't want to do that. But you see what I'm driving at here. I'm trying to get the edges here to match up. So when I hit this, you can tell I'm a little bit off. I'm a little bit off here. I need to bring this up just a little bit. Like this piece here. Just got to bring this up just a tad. Eyeball, and that's close enough. That'll get us by. Now, this will be a little bit harder, I got to admit. This, I'm probably going to have to calculate this down the line. So wherever I place, this guy's mate over here, because this is like at a this is at a 7-degree angle here. We're not going to know where to place this till I grab this item. Now I'm going to eyeball, basically, I'm going to eyeball this. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares here. And I'm not going to be fussy. I'm going to put this up to roughly 3 squares. Not right there. This guy here, basically I'm going to echo what I did there. If I wanted to, I could eliminate half of this stuff, build one of the legs or one of the sides, and just mirror over the other side. Probably what I should have done. I kind of came up with this as sort of a fly, so this is the deal with what I got. So here, everything is orthographic. I'm pretty much on a line with this piece of this here. I'm going to click them both. Control click. Take a look at it. You could tell right off the bat that this needs to go up just a tad. We see the holes.
It's like all those little details you have to pay attention to.
Yeah. So that's pretty much set. That's the easy part. Grab this. Up to here.
All right, Kevin just joined us. Hello, Kevin. I just added you to the broadcast stream. And if you can hear us, I guess we're not hearing you yet.
I can hear you.
Yes, perfectly. I can hear you now. All right. So hang tight. We're gonna let David finish up, and we'll come back.
All right.
All right, David, take it away.
Okay. So that's that. We'll leave it at that. I'm going to worry about these parts here a little later on, other than the fact that I could probably go ahead and bring these up to our third line here. And I'm not worried about, I'm kind of using the grid for scale, because in the end product, the user gets to set the height of the table and where the various, this is like a center shelf, and or the frame of a center shelf. And the user pretty much decides how he cuts that lumber in terms of lengthwise to whatever height he wants. And I'm just going to kind of look at these as units, so to speak, and measure off of that. So, first leg. Over and do a Control Shift A. I grab myself a cube. Boom. Kind of large, but that's okay. I'm going to set this off. I'm going to play with this and say, I know 1 meter isn't going to cut it. It's probably going to be much smaller than that. Let's do, let's see, 0, 1. No. Okay. Not going to cooperate with me, since I'm dealing with meters, not millimeters. Now I'm getting close. This will probably be too small. Yep. This. So not too far off the mark. Let's make this 7. Here. Flip it on Z. Here. Nice thing about X-ray mode is you can, well, even without that, yeah, it's a little difficult to see. Maybe if I went And now it's difficult to see that. Sticking to X-ray mode, you can pretty much see through to the stuff that's beneath. Make it easier for me to scale this down. And I'm just going to guesstimate that's going to be close to here. And I'm going to bring this over. Center it on the center hole there. That's roughly where the center of the screw is basically on the dead center, so dead center this way. So I'm going to use that as a guide and just shrink this down. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep it at that point. And let's see, I'm going to bring this up to here, which is like the base of our model. That's going to be our floor for the time being. Go back to scale, and I'm going to bring this up. You here. Get close up of our model. We see that the roof of it, of our socket here, is roughly over there. So I can just going to do a G for move, and I'm just going to eyeball it right there. Go look down, and oh my, looky here. We're at the floor. That worked out for it. I don't have to, but if this wasn't hitting the floor, what I'd have to do is I'd have to hit my tab and go into edit mode, and I would just select the bottom here and grab the move tool and bring this up and down. And I could put this basically in a level with the X line here. And that should be it for that one leg. Leg 2 is going to be easy. Just take, I got this leg already, so I just go Shift D and drag, right click, and then I can control on the Z, or on the Y, pardon me, where it lines up here. And
this might be, are they both going to be symmetrical, correct?
Yeah.
This might be an opportunity to use your instancing as opposed to duplication.
Instancing.
Well, duplication is your Shift D, right?
Yeah.
Well, instancing is Alt D. It duplicates it, but it maintains the same data. So if you change anything, the other one changes in conjunction.
Not a bad idea.
Just a thought. And since we've got 3 presenters today, you've got about 10 minutes exactly left.
Okay. Get out of X-ray mode, see how this roughly is. I think this will be okay. And you can see I'm building this. And the beauty of all this, and I'm just going to grab one of this in the Y. I was going to grab this. Bring it over here. But then I'm going to have to adjust this. Ideally, I'll do this under X-ray. And take this. And let's see. It's roughly 7. I forget what the figure is in my notes because I don't have my notes today. I'm too clean. But I'm going to say roughly, I think it was 7.89. Go ahead and grab this. Got to make this up to the 2 holes over here. I can definitely see. And that's properly placed. So now I can grab this, bring it over. So you can pretty much gauge how this is going to line up. And I won't create the small pieces over here, but I will point out that this leg here is going to be fairly out of balance. And come to think of it, before we do that, let's do okay.
Good. Okay, we got on surface, and here's what I'm going to play with this. Is a project. Don't want that. Here's vertex is what we have.
Those are pretty much. So the next thing I would do is, of course, create the lumber over here, and we'll just assume that that's been done. Short on time, and you get pretty much the just to how things are built. The only other thing that I would do is I'd grab one of these. Going back into edit mode, and I would see. One of the thoughts that I had is, let's see, I'm going to put this into global. Let's see, I'm pretty much down on this end here. Well, one of the things I was going to do is I was going to bring this below, and with a under the modifier, do a cut with a Boolean. This, delete it. Let's go X, sky. And you get the gist of what I'm doing here.
Awesome.
The other thing I had to do is create the beams from here to here and from here to here. And it's basically the same principle is the same. And of course the top. And in the end, what I have is a model of what is the end sum of what these 3D products can make. You can make with these 3D products. And so there is your, there is the outline of the table. And but the only thing that I could have done, probably or should have done, that was different, is I didn't need to bring in all of these things. I just bring in one from one side, and just mirror it across over here, and just save it individually.
Yeah.
But what I'd want to do in the end, I almost forgot one other thing. I wanted to do it while I'm thinking about it. Grab everything. Control A. Something interesting.
Because you have an instance.
Ooh. Okay.
So yeah, I wouldn't worry about. I mean, if you're gonna print this out, it'll automatically save all your modifiers anyway. It'll build it into the STL file.
Yeah, my only question is, Steve, since I went and did an instance on everything,
Right click. You want to make everything real. You right click on it. What is it? Right click, convert to mesh.
Right click, convert to mesh.
There.
Okay.
And you're good to go.
Yeah, I've gotten into the habit. That's why I was kind of confused about the instance.
Yeah, there's another one. Make instance real. If you select it, select everything. And I think it's F3 on your keyboard. Select everything, A key. Or hit the A key, and hit your F3 on your keyboard. It'll bring up a search menu. Type in make instance real. Type it in. Make instance real. It should pop up to the top of the menu.
Make instances real.
There, that should have done it.
There you go.
Yeah, that should have done it.
And that's about it.
All right. Hey, man, thank you. So that was fun. Kind of a little bit of some furniture work in Blender. Kevin, you're up next. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, we can't. There you are. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and share your screen, and I'm going to and David, stop sharing yours. For some reason, StreamYard has changed in that it requires people to stop sharing before somebody else share now. They didn't do that.
Yeah, I should be stop sharing.
Right, you're done. We're just waiting for Kevin to share.
Okay.
And Kevin is just about there. There we go. It just added Kevin to the stage, and we've got Blender up there.
All
so
right.
as we all been okay, so this is what's going to happen. We'll go. I'll give you 30 minutes, and we're going to do like a 15-minute break.
Okay. I actually have like a bunch of, shorter things. That's a variety of things that I can do until we run out of time. So, all right. So I'm on. Everyone can hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Last week I was on for the first time, and I showed a bunch of different things. And some of the things were oh boy. I had an Audrey animation that I showed.
I don't want to hear this.
Hey, brother.
What? I'm sorry, what was that?
I was hearing the never mind. Please continue.
The last so the Audrey character that I made has these little tentacles on it, or weeds. I don't know what those are.
Branches?
Yeah, not the leaves, but the vines, I guess. The vines that are kind of moving around. And those were actually really simple to animate. And I'm going to show you real quick how I set that up. I'm going to show it on a shorter bone chain than what I have here, because it takes a little longer to set up when you've got 30 or 40 small bones in a vine versus a few. So so let me just jump back into Blender, get rid of our default cube, add a single bone. I'll go to front view and edit mode. I'll hit E to extrude, and I'm holding control down so I can do some snapping. And I'll just hit E to extrude and Shift R a couple times. I'll just do 5 bones here. And I'll do one smaller bone because I'll show you why that's needed. Okay. I'm going to go into my object data properties here under the viewport display, it helps to show the names. So click on names when setting this up. Okay, so now if I go into, if I control tab into pose mode up here, I'll add some bone constraints. So I'm going to go to my first bone here that I want the constraint to, and it's called damped track. And in order to set this up, it has to point to an armature, which is itself. I don't know why I can't just know that it's the only armature, but so the way it works is this bone needs to point to the next bone to have its effectiveness. It kind of works on a lag system. So bone 1, this one's called bone 4. So now if I add another damped track to this bone, you have to set up the armature again. So bone 4 needs to select bone 5. 5 needs the damp track setup. 5 goes to 6. And 6, damp track, armature, goes to 7. So now, if I hit R, you can see that something weird is happening. So it's working. But you have to set the influence. And I'm going to drop this down to, like, I don't know, 0.7 for each one of these. 0.7, 0.7, and 0.7. Okay, so now when I rotate this bottom guy, you can use this for tails, for fish, you know, tentacles, you know, anything that needs to. And the cool thing is I'm just animating the bottom bone and the rest are going along for the ride. It's really just a lag type effect that it's creating.
It's like a little happy puppy dog.
Exactly. A little puppy tail. Oops. Get back to there. Hold on. So, okay. Now, some of the times, like, so that's how I was doing the Audrey tentacles on this guy, and even on dinosaurs, you know, that's how I'm doing these tails on this guy. But sometimes, let's see, sometimes you have a situation. Let me show you this one real quick. The hose mechanism that's hanging off the front of this dude, that one isn't done this way because I needed it to dangle and collide with his body and basically use gravity so it's always kind of facing down. So that is not done with a damped track. I'll show you real quick what I used to do that one. So I'm just going to go through and delete all these damp tracks off of here. And actually, I'm going to tab into edit mode. I actually don't need this extra bone now. Damp track always needs the next bone in a chain to influence the current bone. So if you have a tail that ends, that end needs still another tiny bone after it. So I don't need it now because I'm going to show you a different method here. So this is an add-on called Bone Dynamics Free. I'm using the free version, so it's coming up as, I don't know if it's called Bone Dynamics Free or just because I haven't paid for it, I'm using the free version, but it's called Bone Dynamics, and I think I got it off of GitHub or the Blender Market. This version is very simple and doesn't have a whole lot of options to do with it. So that being said, I'm just going to select everything but the bottom bone, and I'll there's some presets for, you know, default, organic, slow, stiff, heavy. I'm just going to try this organic one and click add bones. Oh, I'm not even sure that worked. It is flaky, I'll give it that. Let's select these guys. I'll use the default. Oh no, it's gonna make a fool out of me. All right. Well, you might have to take my word for it on this one. Sure, it worked when I was practicing to do this, but
don't you hate that when that happens?
Yes, I do.
It's a little frustrating.
Yeah.
You know what? We know it might help. Save your scene now.
I'm just going to start over. I think that'll help.
No, try to trust me. Save your scene now. Shut Blender down and reboot it. Oftentimes, I have found, I teach these classes at the college, and things go wrong because you just got to clear the memory, and then when you come back, it'll probably work. Just a thought. If it doesn't still work, you can slap me around. But let's see. Will it work now?
Do that.
Okay, I think Stephen for the win.
Okay, so I was right.
All right. Okay, so now I'm just going to add a keyframe. This bottom one is going to control the chain now. So I'm just going to add a rotation keyframe for that. And down in my timeline here, I'm just going to Control Tab into the graph editor. And on the Z, I'm going to add a modifier, just a noise modifier that'll swing this around for me. So the biggest thing that's different about this than the damped track is, let me just go back to 0 here, Shift A. Oh, and this is another thing. Sometimes, okay, no, sorry about that. I'm just going to add an icosphere. And I'm going to tell the icosphere to be a collision object. So now you can see this is the biggest difference between bone dynamics and the damped track. Bone dynamics will work with physics. It works with gravity. Take another one of these here.
Yeah, that's nice.
All right, so you get the idea with that. Those two methods for creating, tails or whipping things or whatever. If there's no questions, I'll move on to the next thing.
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody has questions, you're welcome to put in the chat box. They know that.
Okay.
Continue.
Now, here's another thing that I thought was pretty neat. Now, I'm on an older version of Blender for various reasons, but the new version of Blender added something called, I forget what it's called. It's an edge modifier. That if you move two objects close to each other and they're like intersecting, Blender using this new option will kind of create the illusion of a blend between those two objects.
Right.
But it's only a trick. It's a shader trick. It doesn't actually create a, what do you call it, like a connection that's curved. So what I'm going to show you here is a method that will still work in the new Blender. So I've got an object here that I made that's it's this fluted object. I tapered out the edge of this thing, and this one's just a regular sphere on this side. And I've got the other thing about this object here is if I go into weight paint mode, what I did was I selected each loop of points and I created a vertex map. I just called it group. The outer ring of points got a vertex weight of 1. Then the next loop of points got 0.8. Then the next loop of points got 0.6, the next one 0.4, 0.2, and 0.0. So all of the different loops of points have receding values of weight. So that's something that's needed to do for this method to work. So what I'm going to show now is I'm going to turn on my snapping, and I have face project, align rotation to target, and project individual elements on, so that when I come over to here, it'll snap to this object. So if I wanted to move it around, it's snapping. The thing it's not doing is it's still flat here, and I would like it to conform to the curvature of this cylinder. So one thing I can do is, under the modifiers, I'm going to add a shrink wrap modifier, and I'll use the cylinder as the point normals for it to look at. And of course, the entire object gets squished onto the cylinder, but I only want it to affect that vertex group, which is that little collar at the end there. So if I click there, select the vertex group, now from the top view, it's curved the object to the cylinder. But to Blender, these are two separate objects. Even though they're sharing the same shader, they have the exact same material applied to each other, Blender still sees them as two separate objects, so it's not blending the materials into each other. So that's easily solved with a modifier called data transfer. And again, I only want it to work on this collar part, this rounded part. So I'm just going to choose my vertex group, which are those points. And under face corner data down here, there's an option for custom normals. And I'll use the projected face interpolated. Whoops, I forgot to select the cylinder as my source for the normals. So now you get an actual blended object that you can still move around. It's not like booleaned or anything. It's still live. And even if I duplicate this guy a few times and scale him.
Nice, and we did it live.
Yeah, you got the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz or something. And here's kind of a neat thing. If you tab into edit mode, I'm just going to select this ring here and Control B. Give it a little bit of a rounded corner here. And it's not perfect, but it's still, it still blends in, pretty nice.
I wonder how that'll 3D print. Probably won't.
Yeah, even if I froze all this in place, I don't think it's going to be manifold. You probably still have to go in and fix stuff, All right, so that was that. In case, I don't know if anybody had any questions. If not, I'll move on to another one.
Ace Hoffman says that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat trick.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right, so I'm gonna go to a new scene here. I'm going to show you the ocean modifier, in case anybody has or hasn't used that yet. It's a modifier, and you can have any object in your scene. Some people think you have to delete and add a subdivided sphere, a subdivided plane, but you don't have to. It just overrides when you add it. So I'm just using our default cube. Go over to the physics and add the ocean modifier. So we got an ocean. I am going to rename it ocean, just for my own clarification. Now I'm just going to put the ocean in motion, shall we say. So I'll hit a keyframe for time. I'll do another keyframe at the end here. Hit T, linear. Okay, now I'm just going to change the scale a little bit just to make it a little more oceany looking. Okay, now let's say I wanted to float something on the surface of this water while it's doing its thing. Here's how I would do it. I'm going to Shift A and add a plane. Just going to go in, tab into edit mode, right click and subdivide this guy. I'll just do it 10 times. Oops, one thing I forgot. Tab into edit mode, select all those points. And I'm going to create a vertex group and assign these. Okay, now I'm going to add a shrink wrap modifier and target the ocean surface. So now when the ocean moves, this guy is like a piece of paper floating on the water. And that is going to help the object that I'll add. So I'm just going to Shift A and add a cube. This will be the thing that's going to float. So I'm going to just make it a little tinier just so you can see the other object underneath there. I'll apply that scale. Okay, so now with the cube selected, I will add what am I doing? Adding an object constraint. I'll do a copy location. I'm going to copy it from that plane object that it's sitting over. And I'm going to select the vertex group. Now what's happening is all the points in that subdivided plane are basically being averaged. All the math, they're all at slightly different heights. So the copy location is just averaging all that and creating the up and down motion. So now also I can use a copy rotation so that I can have it kind of sort of bobbing around. And I'll use the same settings. I'll select that plane and the vertex group. Now, if I want to move the cube around, I would move the plane. So then when you render, you just turn off the plane so it doesn't render. Now you got something floating. So if you made a boat, you could float a boat or a buoy or something. If you want the floating object to have a little bit of an offset, let's say I wanted to be floating a little bit higher out of the water, you could use the offset for the copy rotation. All right, so that's that. In case anybody had any questions on that one.
None.
All right, let's see. Actually, I'll show you something that's along this line. It's another modifier. This one I will start with a subdivided plane. So I'll Shift A, add a plane. It's going to scale it up a bit. We'll do 100 this time. And I will Shift A and add another plane. What I'm going to do is have the bottom plane be like water, a surface of water. And this plane will just be used as a particle emitter. So the first thing I want to do is select my bottom subdivided plane. Go into the add modifier. And we're going to use dynamic paint. Now, it has some options. One of them is painting, which I haven't really used much at all, but it has other things that it can do, which is what I'm going to show you right now. So the object that they call it a canvas. So this first object is the canvas. It's the thing that's going to receive the effect. So I'm going to select my object, have this set to canvas, and say add canvas. And these surface types are the different things that the dynamic paint modifier can do. Now I want to set this to waves. Now this one up here, I'm going to add dynamic paint to, but this will be the brush. This will be the thing that's going to make the other thing appear to do something. So I'm going to add a brush to this one. And the source under this will be a particle system. Now I haven't applied a particle system yet. So first I'll jump over and apply particles. I'll just drop this down to like 100. Okay, back to dynamic paint. So for this, the source, I want it to look at the particle system attached to that object. And you have to select the name of the particle system, which is the only one there. And on this guy, I'm just going to right click and shade smooth. So if I hit spacebar, let me do this, it might show up a little better. Add a material here, take down the roughness. And it's actually deforming. It's not just, you know, a bump map or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if I select this guy, go into its settings, you know, you can mess with some of the different settings, springiness. Now this effect cannot, the dynamic paint can also be used to do something else that I had. Where is this? Find. I did this other thing. If you look at the snow, you'll see.
Nice around here, isn't it? I call it Christmas Town, better known as the North Pole. The Christmas tree.
So he's carving a path through the snow. That's the same dynamic paint modifier.
Yep.
And if you let me just change something up. I'm going to delete that particle system here and add in a, I'll do an icosphere. So instead of using waves, actually, I'll just show you if I use dynamic paint on that ball and tell the ball to be the brush. Just set a keyframe up for location, set up. Let's go to this frame and insert another location. So you can have a boat moving through water, you know, with this effect. But for that snowman plowing through the snow, if I set it to displace, then you get, you know, it carves a path instead.
This is the one I use for when we make our tractor treads going through the snow.
Yep, exactly. Treads, footprints in snow. It's got this dissolve function too, you know. You can tell it to basically fade out after a certain number of frames. It'll like fill itself back in. by this. They'll take 120 frames to fill in. So if you're walking through, mud, it'll fill itself back in after a few seconds.
So we're at that time, actually perfectly at that time. This is great stuff. I love these little tips and tricks.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah,
there's a lot of tips and tricks in Blender. I mean, a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that have been sitting there for years, and you never really tried them.
Yeah,
You're like, I wonder what that does.
Yeah, just go experiment a little bit.
Yep.
So let's do a 15-minute break. I'm going to start sharing my screen. And let's see, share my screen and share my entire screen. I'm going to share that one there. Cool. All right. So everybody should be able to see this. Okay, let's do a 15-minute break, bathroom break, snack break, stretch your legs. And we'll come back, and then I've got a pretty cool little tutorial for you in Blender, modeling and animation in combination. All right, let's take a break. We'll come right back. It is just about that time. And David and Kevin is still with us. All right, let's get ready to rock and roll, have some fun. Yay. It's time. So do me a favor, everybody who's on Twitch here. I'm going to give you the link to our site here at Twitch and send it to anybody who you think will enjoy the Blender broadcast. So there you are. I've put the actual address right into the chat box for your convenience. And let me see, is my screen not, for some reason, my picture is not showing. Let's see why. I don't know why. I don't have it. Oh, I'm in solo mode. All right. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but maybe if I do this, well, that's still not working. So my little picture isn't showing up, or my video's not showing up for some reason. Camera's working. That's the StreamYard issue. No big deal. You don't need to see me in person. And I'm going to go to full screen anyway. So
yeah,
it doesn't matter in the least. All right. We're going to make something pretty cool. All right. So let's see. Make sure everybody can hear me perfectly well. We're going to make a little dynamite, a little animation where we're going to actually have create a wick, a braided wick, and we're going to put. Let's see. I think I'm hearing somebody clicking in the background there. It must be David. So I'm going to mute his mic. There we go. All right. So, and you guys can unmute yourself.
It's not me.
No, it's not you. No, it isn't. It's actually Kevin. Got it. Okay, cool. So yeah, Kevin, you can unmute your mic anytime. Let's see. I think you guys should be able to unmute your mic anytime. Okay, cool. There we go. All right, very cool. All right, let's create something. We're gonna create a braided wick. We're gonna light it on fire. It's gonna light up and disappear as the fire particles start to get closer to the dynamite. And we're also going to make the dynamite sticks. So let's get started here. I'm going to start from scratch here. I'm going to save this one just in case I need it. So I'm going to put in Dynamite 003 because I was playing around with a couple other ones before class this time. And let's start a fresh screen. So new, general. We're going to do this proportionally. So let's bring in I'm bringing a couple of things. We're going to start with a cylinder. And let's go over here and grab that little cylinder. And it's really tiny. Then we kind of zoom in close to it. I'm going to go to my front face view, hit the number 1 key on the numeric side, and I'm going to come over here. Right on the left-hand side, you're going to see a measure icon. I want to measure this thing. So I want to draw from the top. This is about almost 2 meters in height. I really want it to be less than that, or probably about a tenth of a meter, because it's just a stick of dynamite. I'm just guesstimating, say somewhere right about there. Okay. I suppose what I'll do is let me shift right click to bring the 3D cursor to right about there, the base. I'm gonna come right up here and tell it to use the 3D cursor as the orientation. And when I hit the S key, it'll just resize it down and I can match the height of my dimensions right there. Okay. All right. Okay. I think that'll work just fine. To save time, I'm going to hit the shift tab, or shift space bar, sorry. Scale and just scale it up. All right, we'll just scale up a little more, and that's going to be my stick of dynamite. Okay, and let me go to my front-facing view. Shift space bar gives me all this stuff here on the left-hand side, but it'll show up right where the cursor is. So I'm going to go to my move tool and just bring it just right above that so it sits right on top. Okay, there we have it. So I'm going to select it. Command or not command, but Control A, apply rotation and scale. That's all set in stone. Let's go ahead and model this out a little bit. In fact, let's go start. Let me go back into material mode here. And Blender's kind of like freezing up on me here. Get a few seconds for it to think. Give it a few seconds to think, and let's turn off the animation. Animation's on too. That's by accident. And it's, oh, wow. Okay, there it goes. Done. So let me save this one. Command Shift S. We're going to call this one Dynamite. I'm in the Dynamite folder. In fact, we'll just grab one of the other ones that I've got. Dynamite 3. We're going to call this one Dynamite 4. There. All right. So I'm going to clear Blender's cache. I'm going to just shut it down. Okay. I'm going to shut it down. And then I'm going to go back and get it. So I should have go do it this way. There it is. Dynamite 2 is not there. I'm just going to go back and just get the raw Blender file. Now, I've got StreamYard connected to my graphics card. So whenever you get something else taxing your graphics card while you're doing 3D, strange things happen that don't normally happen when you're working on your own. And that's what happened to Kevin earlier when he had to reboot Blender because his graphics card is being taxed by StreamYard. And there's a lot of little resident cache memory inside of Blender, and it's probably messing things up. So the best way to solve it, and I have to do this all the time while I'm in class as well. All right, Blender's taking a minute to boot up here. It'll be up there. It is cool. File menu. Let's go to recent and let's go to my Dynamite number 4. And it's not saved in my open recents, which is interesting. I will go get it here manually. Okay. All right. Let's go to work. We're going to tab key material mode. See how quickly that came up. See, it hung up last time because of that resident memory inside there. I'm going to change this to medium point to bring my cursor back to my 3D object. And let's go ahead and give this a material. So come down to the bottom, new, and we're going to rename this one Dynamite. I'm misspelling it. All right, we're going to give the surface a red color like so. Okay, that'll work. Let's go inside of edit mode. And let's go back, Z key, and go back to my standard modeling, shading mode. And let's go add a little bit of detail in here. So let's start with the side. It's edit just a little bit of side detail. That'll make it a little more interesting. So Control R to size it. Size hit once. Actually, do this again. There we go. Let's go to my edge editing mode. Okay. Grab this edge. I'm going to split this up. Let me go to my side orthographic view and Command or Control B for bevel. And we're going to bevel that like this. That's going to give me 2 slices from the top and bottom. Making sure I'm in slice editing mode. And I'm going to go Shift and double click the other slice. So both are completely selected. And we're going to add Control B. And I'm just going to get in close to one. I'm confident that the other one will be fine. Just want to look at one. So Control B and do this. Okay. And as you can see, both are done at the same time. And let's add a little bit of indentation in here. It's going to get in close to one. And I'm going to hit Alt E for extrude options, right? And I want to extrude this along the normals where I can push it in just slightly like that. Okay, cool. All right, that works. So both sides have been done. So I'm going to just bevel all these corners here. You're going to see why in just a little bit. I need something to control the edges when I add a subdivision surfaces. So hit the 2 key on my keyboard for my edge editing option. I'm going to grab the top. I'm going to grab that inside. I'm going to grab all my edges here. And I just want these edges. So I got the top. Good. Cool. Here, double click this. I'm going to come here, grab this here. Outside, inside. See if I can get the inside here. And the edge. All right. So what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of edge looping along all these surfaces. You're going to see why in just a moment. So Control B for bevel. It's a fast and shortcut way. Time is money. So I'm just going to just a little bit of a nudge like that. It's all I need. If you're getting close, you can see I've just added an edge loop around everything. Now I'm going to finish up my modeling here. I'm going to get the wick and the top portion. Grab that top face, hit this period key on my keyboard. I for inset, bring that on down. In, I should say. E for extrude. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. E for extrude, extrude it in right about in there. Okay. I'm going to hit I for inset again. That's going to be where the wick's going to go. Shift space bar to go to my move tool. E key. I did it again. E key. That's where the wick's going to come out right about there. Okay. And I'm going to do, actually, before I do this, let's pull this. I got to go back a couple of steps. X-ray mode, number 1 key to go to my side view, orthographic view, pull this on up. So I'm going to round off kind of that surface there. And then Command R to put a slice in here. So the reason I'm doing that is to kind of create kind of a curve like so. And then when I hit my Control B for bevel, I'm going to hit the scroll wheel to give a little bit of a rounded shape. There we go. That's all I want. Now, I'm going to do one last thing. Let's go grab this front surface. E key, extrude it out. That's where the wick's going to come from. And then I, the inset, and then E to push it in. Okay, we're done. All right, we're just about done. So what I want to do is hit the Control plus on the numeric side of the keyboard so I can extend out and select that surface. So I'm going to go back to my material view, and I want to add another surface here. I'm going to call this one just, top face, I guess, we'll call it just top face. So I'm going to add another material here. Hit the plus, hit the new, call that one top face. And then we're going to give this kind of more of a silver looking effect. So bring this down to a little bit of a darker gray. And then hit assign there. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give the wick a different surface. So select the inside, Control plus to select those neighboring faces there. So period key on the keyboard. And I will give this a plus and then another new, and we're going to call this one, I guess, Wick Connect. I don't know. And then give this something closer to a black, something like a real dark gray, and then come down to the sign button and hit assign. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're done. There's my dynamite. So I'm gonna get out of here, go into object mode. And I think what I'll do is instead of, now I could give it a subdivision surface to actually smooth this out, but it might be better to save resources. All right, and just right click and go to auto smooth. And I think that'll be just fine. That we will conserve a lot of memory. The subdivision surfaces will make it a lot more accurate, give you some nice little rounded edges. But for this tutorial, we'll save memory so we can work faster. Okay, so that's it. So the dynamite is done. I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to get out of here, go back to this standard shading mode. We're going to go to the top view. I guess we can go to the top view here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to add a few more of these in here. So I'm going to use my instancing technique. So it's going to be an Alt D instead of a Shift D, and then I'm going to hit the Y key on the keyboard to kind of place it like so. I'm going to do it again, Alt D, and hit Y key, and then that's going to, I guess I could have did the repeat command, the Command R. Let me go to my top view and take a look at it. That's fine. I can grab this one here and move it a little closer if I want. Cool. All right, I'm going to select these here and just two of them. And I'm going to do an Alt D on these as well. And then an X key, move it to the side. And then I will just go on and move it right in between the two and then nudge it into place like so. Give it a little more nudge like that. That's better. Push it in. Okay, that works. And then Alt D again, and then X key to restrict it to the X axis and just kind of pull it together like that. All right. So I've got instances, right? And that means that they all share the data from one, they all share the exact same data. So if I come in to any of these, as you all probably already know, and I decide to say, let's do a Control R to slice it, and then I decide to modify any of them, they're all going to be modified equally, which I don't want to do, but I'm all done with the modeling part anyway. All right, so if I'm going to hit Control S, save it. And let's go take a look at this in material mode. Okay, it looks good. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, let's go do the wick. Wick's going to be easy. So let's put the wick right here. Let's do something else first. Let's merge all these together as one piece. So I'm going to go select them all. Let's go back into this view here. And we'll just select that middle one, shift, select the middle. Well, it doesn't really matter. That one on the outside is a nice bright orange. That'll work just as well. Control J, and that merges them all into one. They were individual. If you look over here in your 3D outliner, they were individual dynamite pieces before, and now they're all one. So if I turn the monitor on and off, there, Control S. All right, let's go get our wick. Shift A, we want a curve. Select it, Bezier curve. Nice big curve. That's perfect. I like that size there. I'm going to bring it on up manually. I'm going to rotate it on the y-axis. So R, Y, let's say 90 degrees. Yep, that works. And we're going to just place that. I'm going to manually. I'm going to eye it here. Oops. Moving too many things around. I'm going to just get it approximately right in there. Yeah. Okay. All right. So once that's positioned, I'm going to modify it a little bit more. So go to edit mode. And these are just like the Bezier curves in Photoshop. I'm going to go to my front face. I'm going to go to the side view there. In fact, I want to rotate this other way. So I'm going to select all. And I am going to just rotate this on the Z-axis 180 degrees. That's all. I just like to I want to pull over to the right here. If I come up here to the top, you see this little blue highlight. Or if I come over here to Shift Spacebar, I got the select box. Let's see what else. I should have it in here. I don't see it. Very interesting. Okay. So I'm going to come back over here and I want to tweak. So that way I can select anything and automatically move it. All right. Select the handle and automatically move it. It's just like Bezier curves in Photoshop. And I'm going to just give it a little bit of a shape like this. Let's go grab that handle. I can go to the bottom. I can grab this handle and pull it up like so. We'd go with something like that for now. And we could, I suppose we could pull this over to the side like this. There we go. We got a little bit, put it in 3 dimensions there. And go there. And I'm going to reset my orientation. So just right click, set origin to geometry. And it puts it right back down in the center of my transformed object. So there's my wick. Now, you can see that it's segmented here. So I'm going to increase my resolution a little bit. And to do so, because it's a curve, we're going to go to the curves data right down here. So 2 points in the curve line. Select the curve data. Your resolution's at the very top, right? Right below your 2 buttons, right? So if I select it and just put in 60, and I watch the shape closely, put in 60 and hit enter, boom, smooths out. Okay, so we're done with the wick. I want 2 of these. You'll see why in just a moment. Well, I'll tell you why right now. One's going to be for your sparkling. It's going to be for your emitter. That's going to emit the glowing sparks as it travels down the wick and goes into the dynamite. And the other one is going to be for your rope. We're going to make rope. You're going to find it's going to be a very cool way to make rope. It's going to get you laughing when you actually see it. So let's duplicate this. So this one's called Bezier. I'm going to call this one, I'm going to give it a designation of curve so I can quickly track it visually. And then I'm going to put in dash, and so we'll make it all caps so it's easier to see. Curve dash guide. Okay, that's going to be the guide for the particle emitter. I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm not going to instance it. I want to duplicate it. I want to Shift D, so I want a completely separate object. Right click to set it right back so it's in registration with the other, because I need them to be in registration. And we're going to call this one curve wick, because that's going to be the braided wick. Okay, let's go to town. Let's turn off the curve wick. All right, that's off so I don't accidentally select it. In fact, I'll lock the layer as well, just to be absolutely sure. So now I'm just going to work with the curve guide. We're going to bring in a box, Shift A, mesh, go on and bring in a cube. Now, let me undo that, and I'll tell you why. It's important that the emitter share the same orientation as the curve. very important, okay, for this to be less problematic. Okay, I'm going to do something. I'm going to hit the Control A and apply scale and rotation. Good, just to make sure everything's set in stone. Now I'm going to hit the Shift S, which is for my options, my pie menu for my 3D cursor options. Go to the bottom, cursor to selection. So now the 3D cursor shares the same orientation as the curve. That means anything that I bring in, like the cube, which is next, is going to share that same location as well. S key for scale, bring it on down. We'll bring it down like that size right about there. Command A, or Control A, not Command, but Control A, even on the Mac is Control spelled out. Rotation and scale there. Okay, now it's time to animate this along that curve guide. So we're going to give it a constraint. Right-hand side, my right side vertical menus. I always say that, right side vertical menus are the color options, because when you hit the N key for the numerics, you got a left side vertical menu. That's for your numerics and your plugins. So, but that's for the N key for numerics, which is the same shortcut in LightWave, N key for the numerics. So now what I want to do is the wick is selected. Not the wick, but the emitter. This is going to be an emitter. In fact, let's rename it right now. We're going to double click the cube and we're going to call it, I think it's 2 M's in the emitter, right? Emitter sparkles. Okay. And they both share the same layer, which is the scene collection. So they'll work together. And what I want to do is I want to go to the constraint, third from the bottom. So select that little pulley symbol, that's your constraint. Nothing's there because we haven't added a constraint yet. So if I hit the, if I come over here and hit the follow path, okay, it's going to ask, well, what path do you want me to follow? Okay, so I'm looking at the orientation. It looks like I'm not quite sure what orientation I'm going to choose for this with that cube, but we'll figure something out. We want this little curve guide, right? So I'm gonna come over to object and just select curve guide. I could hit the eyedropper and select it, but hey, I'll just go grab it so it's definitive. So curve guide in there, okay? You'll see that the cube is moved. You want it to follow the curve, okay? And you want it to animate there. Now, what you're going to find from time to time is going to be offset. So if I go to layout real quick here, which is where I'm going to have my timeline, I just switch to the layout tab here. And if I play this, you can see it's following, but I've got to I have to go grab that cube. Not sure why Blender is doing this. Because I've done this 100 times and it automatically normally sets the object right at the very beginning, provided that the object is at the orientation of that curve. So I don't know. I'll figure that out later. So I'm going to go.
I think you moved it from its 0, 0, 0.
Let's go to my front view, orthographic view, bring it down, bring it on over, and we're just going to set it there manually. Go to top view, looks pretty good. Okay, let's see what it looks like. There it is. Okay, that's going along my curve. So if you have that happen where your object pops way off to the side somewhere, then just manually drag it in. On that curve constraint, it's the Y orientation. So if that doesn't work, you can always try X. Z is only going up and down. Unless you have something moving from top to bottom, you wouldn't normally use Z. So in this case, there is my particle. Let me kind of get in close. It's a little bit off, so I'm going to go back to the beginning. This needs to be at the the tip needs to be at the orientation of your cube. So just X-ray mode. If we're getting close here, you can see the tip of the curve. You want it to match the tip of your emitter and just rotate it around in 3D space. Right? Looks good. Okay. It's oriented to the face is oriented to the curve. And if I play it, there we go. Okay, it's moving kind of fast. So let's double it. So I'm going to go to 250. And I'm going to come over to the view option and say frame the view, frame that to view. Okay. Now, what determines it's still going to stop at 100, right? That's the default. It's still going to stop at 100. So you go over to your curve guide, go to your modifier, not your modifier, your data, your curve data, and it's under the path animation menu, and it's right there under frames. Now, by default, it's 100 frames. So we need to tell that path now to be 250 frames. So when we play, now it's going to go from 0 to, okay, Kevin. So Kevin made a comment. Zero out location values. That was why it was off a little bit. I thought that's what I was doing when I hit Control A. Was zeroing out the location values. So maybe you're right. Maybe I'm not actually doing it. I think I'm doing it, but I'm not really doing it. Let's get out of X-ray mode. So Alt or Option Z. And there's my particle emitter. So it's set. Particle emitter is set to go. It's good to go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make the rope. So let's go. This is the fun part. Let's turn off the curve guide visually here. And let's turn off the emitter sparkles there. Let's turn back on the wick. We're going to unlock the layer. So activate the layer so it's on. And then turn it on visually. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a shape. Now this shape again has to be at the orientation of the curve. So we need another curve for this to work. So it's curve to curve. So I can use another curve to reshape this wick, right? It's just a single line at this point. So Shift A, go to the curve, and I'm going to go to circle. Circle's way too big. Okay, no big deal. Go into edit mode and S key and make it about like that. Okay. Now we are going to make the shape of the rope. So I'm going to the top view, and this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to move this to the side here. So Shift Spacebar, move it to the side, and just to the right side of the 3D cursor, right? Give it a little space. Shift D, X key, restrict it, and we're going to put one like this. I think I'm going to need a little more space. Shift D again, Y key, just bring it probably right about there. I'm kind of the center of the circle, and then pull this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull this apart like this. Okay. Shift D again, Y key, pull it down. All right, I could have used the shortcuts, but you guys get the point. Now, all this is done within the Bezier circle here. All right, this is going to be, we're going to rename this one, and I'm going to call it curve rope. All right, we're going to get out of here, go to object mode, we're done. So I want this wick to take on the shape of this curve. This is considered a single curve because right here, we did all the editing inside. You know, remember the real world on the outside? The editing world inside is the quantum universe. Now, it's not centered. So what I need to do is, to help me out here, I need to go back inside, tab key, edit mode, A key to select all, go to my top view, fill the frame as much as possible. I'm going to eye it just to save time. Right there, that should do it like that. Okay, tab key, object mode. Okay, select your curve, go to your curve data property, the little two dots with the green dots with the curved green line. We're going to come down to geometry. We're going to tell the geometry, go to the bevel section. And let's see where I want the bevel objects, right? So right here, round is selected by default. If we go to object, we're going to select the object. I'm going to drink some of my tea here. I have this mint tea, and I'll take whole cinnamon sticks and put them in my coffee grinder. I got 2 coffee grinders, one for the coffee and another one I dedicate to beans and cinnamon sticks. So I'll grind the cinnamon sticks to a powder, stick the powder on top of the green tea. Well, this is mint tea, and then brew it in my Keurig machine. And it's delicious. No questions. Pretty cool. All right. No questions. So the object for the bevel is going to be what? It's going to be my curved rope. Select it. Boom. There she is. Okay. We got the rope started way too big. We want a small little wick. So what you can do easily is this. We can select the actual curve shape, S for scale, and just scale it down to fit inside there like that. And we can get in close if we're not sure. I'm going to, let's see, I want to move the wick, select the wick. Mr. Wick. Move it right inside there. And move it just a little bit like that. Okay. I think I messed up on that. I wanted to go this way. There we go. Almost, just a teensy bit. Okay, that's good. Pull it out like that, real small. There we go. Okay, so I'm in global. Let me see if local will help me or normal. No, nothing's going to help. Okay, just stick to what we've got here. It looks like it's so minute. I'm being really picky. Probably the best solution is just to make it a little bit thinner. So we'll go back and get our curve here. S key and just make it a little bit smaller. There you go. That works. Okay, we're going to braid it now. This is the fun part. So how do we braid it? We need to select the actual curve, right? Not the curve object. The curve object stays where it is. We want the actual curve. We will go into edit for the curve. And all you're going to do is select the end that's close, that's closest to the outside of the wick. We're going to use a shortcut key for tilt. It's Control T. And you're going to get a handlebar. Now watch the wick. When I rotate it, see? And keep rotating it, and keep rotating it, and keep rotating it, and keep rotating it, and keep rotating it until I get this tight little wick. Isn't that cool? I need to make it tighter, but I need more resolution, right? If that's the case, then go back to your data properties for your curve. Go back up to the very top. We put 60 before. Let's do 100. There. See, it smooths out now. Maybe 200. There. That helps quite a bit. And then I can continue to go play. So edit menu, hit Control T again in edit mode and keep twirling it. Now, if you click off, you can go to your tilt options here and just, put it in manually or just scroll it with your clicking and dragging like so. All right, I won't do it too much. I just want to just kind of get a little bit more. Okay, that's good. That's good enough. Tab key, go into object mode. There we go. We got it. There's our little wick. Now, here we go. We need this wick to disappear. Let me go back and we can need to turn back on the I don't think I need the curve guide, but what I do need back on is the emitter sparkles. Okay, see? So as this moves down, the wick, which is going to be my particle emitter, got a little bit off there, but that's all right. You guys get the point. We need the rope to disappear. We can animate that. Okay. So again, we go back to the curves data here. We're going to go find the right here inside the geometry, inside the bevel. You have a start and end mapping. Open it up. And I have the factor for the start and move it up. And there we go. That makes it disappear. And you can animate that process, which is what we're going to do. So to animate it, I'm going to put my cursor over the factor start and hit the I key on the keyboard. And immediately you can see on the timeline, it put a gold keyframe. Now you're going to go all the way over to 250 here. And you're going to take the factor start, go all the way to 1.0, and then hit I key to insert a keyframe. And you have a keyframe in here. So now we're going to play them. So what we need to do is we need to sync them up. So we're on the right track. Everything's working exactly as it should, but it's one's animating a little bit differently than the other. So we're going to correct that. Let's start from the very beginning, and let's go to the point where it starts to kind of offset. So I'm going to bring this to here, so you can see it starts here. Actually, we could probably just manually take this cube and just bring it back, and it is offset a little bit from the curve. Alt Z, and just push it to there. All right, and then let's see what that does. So, okay, it aligns it better on the curve, but it's still off. What I'm going to be doing is animating or keyframing the offset to help me here. That should be fine. So if I go to here, say to there, right? So we'll do a keyframe here. So I'm going to come right back to my, let's go over here to my constraint. And what we're going to be doing is keyframing the offset. This is the offset. Going along that curve. Okay, by default is 0. We're going to just simply hit the I key and a keyframe there. And then what I'm going to do is just see right where, so basically when I get to this point, I need to be back here. So I'm going to go to my offset and just move it back to there and hit I key for the keyframe. And then now we're getting a little bit, there we go. That looks good. Okay. Now the here is fine. Okay. So we'll put a keyframe there. Remember that the mouse is hovering over the offset. Bring it on over. And now we're going to go to right where it starts to break apart, probably right about there. And I'm going to adjust the offset to match this here and hit a keyframe there. All right, let's see what this gets us now. Manually move it up. Okay, so I've got a keyframe here. Now I'm going to offset it up to here. And let's hope this works. Add a keyframe there. And now we'll follow it. Okay, it still wants to. I'll set it up. Now the one I did before our tutorial started today worked with a lot less hassles, but I didn't have a curve throughout 3D space like I have on this one. All right, so now there we go. Now that's okay. Now that's starting to fall back a little bit about there. So what we'll do is we'll just push this on back and hit I, keyframe that. And it looks like it's gonna fall. Well, I'm gonna go all the way down. Let me take this here, get this here. I'm gonna take it all the way down to there. And then keyframe that, and then it disappears. Okay, yep, there it is. Okay, there it is. Okay, we got it. All right, that works. Save, Control S and save this. Oh, all right, so someone says, can't see the timeline because of, the pop-up. I'm sorry. I'm totally sorry. I'm slapping myself for that one. Okay, there we go. All right, cool. So there you go. There's all you key. So all I was doing was keyframing the offset to get it to, and it worked. Okay, cool. So if I play it, and it comes through. All right. So all we need now is this. All we need to now is to do the sparkles, right? The particles. Okay, here we go. This is where it gets really fun. Let's make a particle real quick. Shift right click. I'm just putting the 3D cursor just right next to where my particle begins here. And shift right click is a shortcut for placing your 3D cursor anywhere in your scene. I'm going to use an icosphere. Okay, I'm going to hit the Shift A, Mesh Icosphere, and the Save on Memory. I'm going to come to the icosphere property and tell it to come down to subdivisions of 1 to further just reduce the geometry. So it looks something like this. I'm going to bring it down to like that big. Command Control A, rotation and scale, apply it. All right. Okay, so now let's put this off to the side. We're going to give this a material, new, and we need to go to material mode. And this sparkle is going to be a light emission. Right? So I'm going to come down. Tell you what, we're going to do this easily. I'm going to change the playhead here, or the timeline, to the shader editor real quick. There's my shader editor for my sparkle. Standard principle BSDF. Select it and delete it. Instead, Shift A, search. And in that search box, we want emission. There is my emission node, and plug it in. Okay. We're going to go to render view now. So render. Okay. And there's no, I don't think I have any lights in here at all. So we don't really need it at this point because we're going to increase the strength of the particle. So increase the emission strength of the particle, it gets a little brighter. So we'll go to something like 30. Now, here's where the fun gets. I want that nice little lens flare glow around here. We can now do this in both cycles as well as EV. I'm going to work in cycles. I'm going to come right up here, the little picture of the camera on the right side vertical menu with the colorful icons, and I've got the glare controller on. If you don't have this, it's because you got to go to edit menu, preferences, go to your click in glare, and glare controllers right there. If it's not here, go to your get extensions to get it from online, and then it'll install it for you. And what this does is once glare controller is installed, it's going to be in your render menu at the very top. You click on the enable glow here, right? And then right below that, make sure it says always, which it should say by default. But if you come right down here to insert and control the glare, click it, boom, you got glare. All right. So by default, it's the streaks under your mode. And I don't want streaks, right? I want bloom like that. There we go. There's my bloom. Just like we used to have in EV. Now this works for both EV and cycles. So I love this feature. You can control the glare. Take the threshold over to the right a little bit to control that, how much glare. I'll just take it to there for now. Okay. All right. It's a particle. That's what we're going to use for a particle. Let's get out of here, go back to my solid mode, and let's go ahead and create a particle system. Let's go grab our animating, our emitter particles, and we're going to make it a particle emitter. So I'm going to come right down here, vertical right side menu, the blue, right below my blue wrench is my particle emitter. Click it, and then click plus. Okay, and we've got particles, and it's coming all the way down. Let's go over to the down to the particle options. We're going to go down to field weights, and I'm going to take off the gravity. We're going to play. So all we're going to do is going to play. When does this end? The particles are going to end right about at, let's see. Let's come over to, let me bring up another interface here. Grab the bottom left, pull that up, and bring the timeline under there as well. So I've got my shader and my timeline together. I want to find out right when it goes away, which is right about frame 220. So I'm going to come up here. It says stopping at 200, which is too soon. We know that's right here. It says start frame, end frame. So I'm going to go to 220. Okay. Pull it back, test it. Bring it across. And then stop. Boom. Right there. And then stop. Okay. Let's reduce the size of my particles here. So I'm gonna let it keep running because I really want to visualize the stuff as best as I can. And I'm going to use the globe. So now I'm going to replace it with an object because the globes will not render, as we probably all already know. We don't care. I want to just do some a size adjustment. In fact, here, I tell you what, why don't we just go ahead and bring in the object? So I'm going to scroll this down. We're going to go to the render tab right there, drop it down. Halo is what we've got by default. We're going to drop that down, and we're going to grab the object now. Now, it doesn't know what object to put in here because we haven't told it what object to put in here. So we want that. What did we call it? Did I rename this one? It's called Icosphere. We'll leave it Icosphere. It's just easier for me to remember. Let's go select. I gotta go select my emitter particles. There we go. Now we're going to come back down. Render object. What object? We want the icosphere. Boom. There we go. Okay. Let's make them just slightly larger. So under, right above where you put the icosphere, you've got your scale. So I'm going to just make it a little bigger like that. Okay. All right. Now we got to play around with the velocity, right? So we're going to go to the velocity tab. Let me go just bring up that render for now. Velocity tab here. And I need more particles. So let's do, got 1,000. Shall we do 10,000? Boom. Okay. I need to break it up. And we're going to use velocity to help us with that. So we've got velocity here, normal velocity. Pull it up a little bit. And now we need to randomize that velocity. So randomize it. Boom, boom, boom. Really randomize it. Yeah. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. We got our sparkles. Okay, so now we need to limit how far the sparkles come out. Okay, so let's take a look at this in render mode. So Z key render mode. Boom. Okay. Oh, we might need more particles. Let's give it 20 grand. So 10 grand is what we got now. Let's do 20 grand. Another 10 grand. Another 10 grand is always good. Yeah. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, all right, we can use that. We can work with that. Okay. We can work with that. So we need to limit how long the particles are going to be emanating from the emitter. So if I come back to the emission, the lifetime is 50. So let's give it 20. And I'm going to shift arrow key to the left. Now I'm going to pull these other things out of the way real quick. Pull it down. Let's pull it back. Let's see, what am I doing here? There's my dynamite. Stop. There we go. All right. Way too much. Okay, let's go half that. Lifetime 10. There we go. Okay. Maybe lifetime about 5. Maybe 8. Maybe we won't get too greedy. I'll go 5. There we go. That's better. Let's zoom in a little closer. Bang. Isn't that cool? Okay, so now I think at this point, just play around with the randomization. The greater amount of randomization, the more, I like that much better. I got a lot of velocity randomization. And then, of course, because of the randomization I put in there, I'm probably going to want to mess with the frame lifetime. Maybe I'll take it down to, let's see what 3 looks like. Yeah, that's a little better. Yeah. Getting close. So at this point, this is where you might want to consider adding motion blur, which you're going to find inside your render tab. And there's other techniques too where I can actually apply a domain and giving that a fire. So if I click it, I can apply a fire, a flame. But what I would end up doing is duplicating this emitter, getting rid of the particle emitter, replacing it with the dynamics, a flame dynamic. We won't have time to do it today. We'll save this one, and then maybe later come back and add that to it. Now you can make this even more interesting by changing the shape of the icosphere to be elongated, to give you almost a type of a motion blur effect. Let me see what I've got up here. I'm gonna go to my render settings. Motion blur here. If I click it. All right, so if let's do a quick little render, see what it looks like. There we go. Yeah, we got some motion. That's close to what I'm looking for. All right, now what I need to do is go set this up in the camera now. Let's go do that right now. So I'm going to take it to right about there. This little guy here, we can just move out of the way. Let's put it way in the background. I don't need these in the bottom. I don't need this one anyway. So I'm in modeling, I'm in layout mode. So if I go to, let's go to model mode. That way I have that entire space available to me. Go to my render options. Set that up. Let me get out of, I got to get back in object mode. There we go. And we'll set it up like this. Should we bring a ground in there? Go to Shift A, mesh, go to a plane. Let's put it right down here. And set it right beneath my dynamite. Like this. Okay, Command A to apply all transforms. Command S to save this. If I go to the, let's actually go to the, give it a surface. Give it a slight gray. And let's give it a mirrored surface. So metallic on up. Bring the roughness down. Right, you can't see the motion blur inside the render portion of Blender. You have to actually render it out to see the full render. Let me actually get this set up first. The way I want my camera to see. I'm gonna bring my camera down low, really low, and kind of make it look upward. All right, Control, Alt, or Option 0 on the numeric side of the keyboard. And then I want to make sure under my view, I've got my lock camera to view option. That allows me to navigate through my camera, as you all know. N key to make that go away. I'm going to pull this on back, reset this up, something like this. Let's pull this to there. I want to check my focal length of my lens real quick. So lights, camera, actions, right up in here. Let's make sure that's turned on. The camera is selected, and I'm going to come right down here to the camera properties. Yeah, I got 50 mil. Maybe we'll go 100. There we go. Like I'll compress the shot a little bit better. Let's do a render. Yeah, that's better. Of course, we need to kind of change the color of probably my emission's a little bit too high. So let's go to my emission, and I can do this right over here. So my emission is going to be coming from the particle emitter or from the particle itself. So the icosphere itself there. The strength is high. So let's take this down to, let's do 10 on the emission. And let's do a quick little, okay. The color of the emission, I'm going to change that. Cancel. Let me save this. Now that's Yeah, that's the mission color. Let's go ahead and change it to kind of a orangish. All right, let's see what it looks like. And we can change the color as well and over time. And we may have to wait, do that another day as well. So there's my mission. And I'm going to just play it a little bit more as it gets closer to the dynamite, do another render. And you can control the length of the particles. By controlling the motion blur. So if I come back over here and go to our motion blur option, is that in my camera? Yeah, I'm in there. Cool. Then I pass it. Where are you? Oh, actually, make sure I've got the right node selected. Icosphere, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's right. I want to go right over to here. And let's see, motion blur right there in front of me. I wasn't looking good enough. Okay, so I dragging the shutter. You can play with the shutter curves. If I bring this up higher, see what we get. Even longer. If you want to shorten it up. Oops, I didn't do that one. Let's go back and get Blender. Want to shorten it quite a bit, bring it down, bring the shutter down to smaller numbers. It's up to you. It's totally up to you. And of course, we can add fire, like the fire illuminating the center and traveling right along with the particle emitter. But I think you guys get the point. It's there it is. Wasn't that fun? Thank you, Kevin. That's really cool. Okay, let's see. Well, you guys, is Kevin still here? Or did he leave? He left. I see David.
I'm still here.
Yeah, he's still here.
All we need is a nice big boom.
There he is. He's back. You keep popping in and out on me.
All we need is a boom. Where's the boom?
Thank you so much, David. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you, everybody else, for being here. So, FYI, the 5-week Blender class starts next Sunday. I'm going to give you guys, let me give you guys the link to it and also the discount code. And for anyone who's interested, I've got to sign up this morning. It's an introduction to Blender. So if you've never taken a Blender class, this is the one you want, because it's going to start from the very beginning, getting the strong modeling techniques. We'll be getting the animation and texturing, UV mapping, modifiers, how and when to use them. Here we go, the introduction. So let me bring over the actual website there. Come on, get over here. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys the link. Put it in the chat box for your convenience. And then discount code, I'm going to type that in as well. Discount code is SDPUG 2025. Cool. All right, I only allow eight people in that class. It's already half full. So I expect it to be a full class by Sunday. So go on, jump in, get involved. Great opportunity to learn Blender quickly. 5 weeks. We meet every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So that's usually a time where no one's busy. And I would love to see you in there. I really would. So the link is there. And the discount code is there, STBug 2025. So fun. Well, we had a lot of stuff we covered today, didn't we, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So come next week and share some more. We'd love to see more.
Cool. I'll have some more tidbits to show.
All right, that'll be great.
You just sparked something. I was working on something, and your dynamite thing just gave me an idea for a variation of that. So, yeah,
good.
Maybe next time.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to disconnect from everybody from Twitch. Thank you for joining us. We'll see everybody next Saturday at 12 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because we're in beautiful sunny San Diego.
Beautiful rainy